He's been an unknown kid in his dad's movies. A teen heartthrob, a cautionary tale, splashed across every tabloid in America. A billion-dollar superhero. And, finally, an Oscar winner. Most actors get one act. Robert Downey Jr. has had about 6, and somehow survived every single one. This is the story of how a child actor who lost nearly everything clawed his way back to become one of the most bankable, beloved, and respected performers alive. 7 levels, from the bottom of Hollywood to the very top. Let's climb. And every icon is a climb. 7 levels. This is that story. Level 1. The unknown actor. Robert Downey Jr. was born into the business on April 4, 1965, in New York City. His father, Robert Downey Sr., was an underground filmmaker, and instead of a normal childhood, young Robert got a film set. He made his on-screen debut at just 5 years old, in one of his dad's movies, playing a puppy in a surreal comedy called Pound. That's the level where everyone starts. A face in the background, a name no casting director knows. His dad's films were strange, scrappy, rebellious little movies, made on tiny budgets, far outside the Hollywood machine. Robert grew up on those sets, surrounded by actors and artists and chaos, absorbing the craft before he was even old enough to understand it. But behind the scenes, this level was darker than it looked. Downey has been open about growing up around drugs from an incredibly young age, a fact he'd spend the next 3 decades fighting. As a teenager, he dropped out of high school and moved back to New York with one goal: to make it as an actor. He took small parts wherever he could find them, bouncing between New York and Los Angeles, picking up bit roles in early 80s films, paying his dues one forgettable credit at a time. No fame, no safety net, just a kid with a famous last name in an industry that hands out nothing for free. Level 1 is the grind, and Downey was about to break out of it. Fast. Level 2, the teen star. By the mid-1980s, Downey had arrived. He landed a spot in the cast of Saturday Night Live for the 1985-86 season, and started popping up in the teen comedies that defined the decade, like Weird Science. His time on SNL only lasted a single season. Sketch comedy wasn't quite his lane, but it put him on the map, and in a decade obsessed with young Hollywood, Downey had the looks, the charm, and the timing to ride the wave. This is where he became part of Hollywood's young, buzzy generation of up-and-comers. The crowd the press loved to photograph and gossip about. Then came the role that changed the conversation. 1987's Less Than Zero. Playing a wealthy young man spiraling into addiction, Downey delivered a performance so raw, so convincing, that critics stopped calling him a teen star and started calling him a talent. There was an unsettling irony there. The drug-addicted character he played would foreshadow his own real-life battles. Some who worked with him have said, the role felt a little too close to home. But on screen, Level 2 proved something important. Robert Downey Jr. wasn't just charming. He could act. Level 3, global fame. In 1992, everything changed. Downey took on the near impossible, playing the most famous silent film comedian of all time in the biopic Chaplin. He learned to move like Chaplin, to hold the camera like Chaplin, to become Chaplin, across an entire lifetime, from struggling youth to global icon. The preparation was relentless. Under director Richard Attenborough, Downey trained for months, mastering Chaplin's walk, his posture, even how he held a violin and stood on a tightrope. He didn't just imitate the legend, he inhabited him. The performance was a revelation. It earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor at just 27 years old. It also won him a BAFTA. Suddenly, Downey wasn't a promising young actor anymore. He was a genuine leading man, with the whole world watching. Through the rest of the 90s, He stayed busy. Romances, thrillers, ensemble dramas. The kind of eclectic run that only a truly versatile actor can pull off. But this should have been the launchpad to superstardom. And in a way, it was. But not the way anyone expected. Because level 3 is also where the story takes a devastating turn. Interesting footnote, Downey has said in recent years he's grateful he didn't win that Oscar in 1993. As he put it, winning that young might have convinced him he was on the right track when he absolutely wasn't. Level 4, the serious actor, the fall and the rise. Here's the part of the story most people forget, and it's the most important level of all. After Chaplin, Downey's addiction took over his life. The late 1990s were a blur of arrests, court dates, rehab, and relapse. There was the infamous night he was found asleep in a neighbor's home. There were missed hearings, and a judge who finally ran out of patience. He landed a Golden Globe-winning role on the hit TV show Ally McBeal, and was fired from it after another relapse. He served time in prison. For a stretch, he was considered so uninsurable that studios simply wouldn't hire him. Hollywood had written him off. Then, slowly, he rebuilt. Getting sober in the early 2000s, Downey took the only roles he could get: smaller, sharper, character-driven films. At one point, a co-star even put up part of his own salary as insurance, just to get Downey hired. That's how far he'd fallen, and how hard the climb back would be. It was also around this time that he met a producer named Susan, the woman who would become his wife, and, by his own account, the person who helped him find his way back to life. In 2005's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, he showed off the fast, witty, self-aware charm that would later define his career. In 2007's Zodiac, he proved he could disappear into a serious ensemble drama and hold his own with the best. This is the level where Robert Downey Jr. stopped being a tragic headline and became a serious actor again. Someone directors could trust. He didn't skip the fall, he climbed through it. And that hard-won reputation set up the biggest gamble of his life. Level 5, Hollywood Elite. 2008. A studio takes a risk on a formerly uninsurable actor to headline a comic book movie about a hero most casual fans had never heard of. The director, Jon Favreau, fought for him, convinced that Downey's own messy, redemptive story was the perfect fit for a flawed genius trying to become something better. The studio was nervous. Favreau held his ground. The movie was Iron Man. The actor was Robert Downey Jr., and it detonated. His Tony Stark, cocky, wounded, hilarious, human, didn't just launch a franchise. It launched the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, the biggest film franchise in history. Downey reprised the role across roughly a decade, all the way to 2019's Avengers, Endgame, where Tony Stark's story reached its emotional finale. That same year, 2008, he also earned a second Oscar nomination for his outrageous comedic turn in Tropic Thunder. Blockbuster king and awards contender in the same breath. He didn't stop there. He anchored the Sherlock Holmes movies, winning a Golden Globe for the role. He led the Avengers in 2012. For a while, it felt like every movie he touched turned to gold. For several years running, Downey sat at the very top of Forbes' lists as one of the highest-paid actors on the planet. He'd gone from unhireable to irreplaceable. Level 5 is where Robert Downey Jr. became Hollywood royalty. But there was still one thing missing. Level 6, Oscar winner. For all the money, all the fame, all the box office records, Downey didn't have the one thing that eluded him back in 1993, an Academy Award. After hanging up the Iron Man suit, he took a breath. He made a deeply personal documentary about his late father called Senior, a son's tribute to the man who first put him in front of a camera. He was searching for what came next. Then came Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer. Downey took on the role of Louis Strauss, not a hero, not a quip machine, but a quietly vengeful political operator. He stripped away every ounce of movie star charm and delivered a performance of pure, restrained menace. It was, for many, the best work of his career.
Yeah, and the awards world noticed. He swept the season. The Golden Globe, the BAFTA, the SAG Award, the Critics' Choice, one podium after another, all leading to the biggest night of all. At the 96th Academy Awards, in March 2024, more than 3 decades after his first nomination, Robert Downey Jr. finally won the Oscar, Best Supporting Actor. His acceptance speech opened with a line that summed up his whole journey. "I'd like to thank my terrible childhood and the Academy," in that order. He then turned to his wife Susan and credited her with loving him back to life, after finding him, in his words, like a snarling rescue pet. The comeback was complete. The tragic headline was now an Oscar winner. Level 7, Hollywood legend. So where do you go after you've conquered blockbusters and won the industry's highest honor? You become a legend, and you keep reinventing yourself. Just 1 month after his Oscar win, he showed up in an HBO limited series called The Sympathizer, playing not 1, not 2, but 5 different characters: a CIA man, a congressman, a professor, a filmmaker, a priest. A full-on masterclass in transformation. It earned him an Emmy nomination. Then, in the fall of 2024, he did something he'd never done before. At nearly 60 years old, Robert Downey Jr. made his Broadway debut, starring in the play McNeil, in front of a live audience, night after night. No CGI, no second takes, just an actor, a stage, and the pure craft. But the biggest twist was still coming. In 2024, Marvel shocked the world at San Diego Comic-Con. Robert Downey Jr. was returning to the universe he built. Not as Iron Man, but as its ultimate villain, Dr. Doom. He's set to headline Avengers, Doomsday, arriving in theaters December 18th, 2026, followed by Avengers, Secret Wars, in 2027. Think about the sheer symmetry of it. The man who launched the Marvel Cinematic Universe as its first hero is coming back to potentially end an era as its greatest threat. Directors describe him as completely immersed, writing backstory, designing the character, obsessed with getting it right. That's the mark of a legend, not resting on the Oscar. Still hungry, still transforming, still surprising everyone. From an unknown kid on his father's film set, to a fired, uninsurable cautionary tale, to a billion-dollar franchise star, to an Academy Award winner, to a living legend rewriting his own legacy. 7 levels. One of the greatest comeback stories Hollywood has ever seen. Which level of Robert Downey Jr.'s career is your favorite? The charming Tony Stark era? The Oscar-winning Oppenheimer turn? Or are you most excited to see him bring Dr. Doom to life? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this journey, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest careers. And I'll see you in the next one.